is steering and is revving now.
Round number 13 of the Formula 1 seasons takes us over to the Temple of Speed. It's the Italian Grand Prix, but we've got some news to get through before we can set off into the Grand Prix itself. We're starting things off over at McLaren, and Tom and Sam have confirmed that they will have internal discussions between themselves about their future in Formula 1. Of course, Tom and Sam have been involved in a bit of a fiasco with McLaren and also Vodafone after continued threats for not changing mobile networks due to Vodafone's sponsorship deal, and in which they've been given continuous email threats and also phone call threats and even verbal threats in the paddock, and it's making them feel really uncomfortable and really uneasy. They, of course, have had a contract. Part of their contract is that if they decide to leave on bad terms, both of them will go together. But of course, both of them need to agree on this. Tom and Sam have said they're going to have that discussion and they will announce their future at the next race. Speaking of discomfort from all of these threats, key members from McLaren have actually left the team after these continued threats. Now, of course, it's not just a case of, oh, sign up to our Vodafone network now, please. They've literally been told that they've had threats, not only about signing up for that network, but if they fail to do so, they'll receive significant wage cuts, demotions down within the team, and potential sackings for not following orders. It's really been quite unnervy over at McLaren these days now with this new deal coming into place. And still, Zak Brown is backing the deal, so you can't really say that the deal is off. Finally, for McLaren's side of things, Zak Brown has pleaded with Tom and Sam to stay with McLaren. Of course, Zak Brown has been very, very nervous about McLaren losing their two World Championship potential drivers. Of course, with Tom and Sam, Tom winning 3 titles, Sam winning the 1. And of course, it's very much been a bit of a plague on his mind as to what would happen if he just lost his 2 World Championship stars. Moving over to Jaguar, and David Smith has admitted to his actions with regards to his tweet to Nico Hülkenberg and has now left Jaguar as part of it. David Smith is the principal of Jaguar, and he was the one that initially typed out the tweet for Hülkenberg to send with regards to Jaguar employees being lazy and terrible at their work. David Smith initially had no actions taken against him. Hülkenberg lost his drive, and after being proven innocent, still couldn't get his drive back at Jaguar. Verstappen was fined for his actions against this, for speaking out of part of Hülkenberg. He's then left on protest against Jaguar, and of course Panasonic have demanded that if Jaguar want a title sponsor for next season, they will have to get rid of him, otherwise they will no longer sponsor Jaguar. David Smith has admitted to all of this, and he's decided to leave Jaguar as part of this. Moving over to the transfer centre now, and things are kind of on the down low at the moment at the transfer centre, but a few things have happened, so let's get straight into it. Nico Rosberg has announced that he's going to be leaving Porsche at the end of the season. Nico Rosberg said that the plan was when he joined Porsche was to build them up to become a top team and be the man to help with the project. Unfortunately, rather than Porsche going upwards, they've been going backwards, and it's something that Nico Rosberg doesn't want to have in his career. He feels like that as he's coming towards that end stage of his career, he wants to try and go for it as much as he can, and of course, this is not going to help him in that circumstance. Porsche have announced that Nico Hülkenberg will be partnering Pascal Wehrlein next season, so this announcement of Rosberg leaving has already been confirmed that Hülkenberg will go to Porsche next season. Of course, Nico Hülkenberg lost his drive with Jaguar, which was not his own, which wasn't even his fault. And of course, it confirms now that with Rosberg confirming he's leaving, Hülkenberg has confirmed that he is joining. So we finally have our first driver lineup confirmed for next season, which is going to be at Porsche, where Nico Hülkenberg and Pascal Wehrlein will continue the all-German lineup in a German team. Many teams are waiting for the outcome of the McLaren to unravel before they start trying to get their signatures out. With Tom and Sam discussing their future and announcing it at the Brazilian Grand Prix, if the two of them are to leave McLaren, that means that two world champions are up for grabs, and it's something that a lot of teams are keeping their eye out for. Audi are in advanced talks with George Russell over a brand new deal to stay with the team for the following season. George Russell has impressed Audi so far this season. Despite Audi's backwards trail in towards the second half of the season, George Russell has been leading the team quite comfortably, has been out-qualifying and out-racing Devon Butler throughout the majority of the season and has scored more points than him and has been doing enough to impress Audi into going through a new deal. Now as we go in towards the race news then, and McLaren have brought themselves a brand new B-Spec car which they will run for the rest of the season. The brand new car brings them a much stronger straight line speed advantage, but has crucially added weight. A brand new engine has gone into the back of that McLaren, and a few pieces of the bodywork have had to change in order to maximise this. The McLaren's car used to be extremely light and nimble and rapid throughout all of the corners, but really quite sluggish in a straight line. But their raw speed throughout the corners really helped them to keep up with the rest of the field and in fact get away from any form of threat. It reminded people of Red Bull back in the early 2010 era. Sam is actually loving this new car, whereas Tom is unhappy with the B-Spec car. The B-Spec McLaren car is very reminiscent of last season's McLaren, where it had extremely good straight line speed and was good enough in the corners that the straight line speed package was just, too good that the cornering didn't really matter as much. Sam really enjoying this, Tom much preferring the car when it was much more agile through the corners. Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren and also Jaguar are all looking set to clash in the Italian Grand Prix. There was nothing to split the top four teams, and for the first time we could be having a four-team scrap for the victory here at the Italian Grand Prix. But are we going to have that? Let's try and find out then. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on guys? It is Foxy98 here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the F1 Journey for you guys today here on the channel. Today we're here for round number 13, which is the Italian Grand Prix, and we have got 4 more races left to go now in the championship before we round off this season. But if you guys end up enjoying today's episode, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And let's get straight into it then. So here we are coming up to qualifying then, and of course we've got our brand new B-Spec car in play here. Of course we've got a brand new McLaren, which is much faster in a straight line, but it has lost a lot of that lightness and nimbleness that it had through the corners. So it's gone in a completely different direction, and it was a car that wasn't actually suiting me that well. I much preferred the McLaren when it was much more slightly slower in a straight line, but just much faster in the corners for me to just throw it around. On my second flying lap here, I didn't actually improve on my lap time of P5. I really struggled to find any extra sort of a pace. On my final flying lap here, I'm giving it absolutely everything to just find a couple of tenths of a second here or there. And again, as we make our way towards the start-finish line now, we're not even going to be able to improve again. So my first lap was actually my best lap, which is quite unusual. But on this occasion, it just was. And we only qualify in P5 then for the Italian Grand Prix. And that's not really where we want to be starting. If we have a look then at the grid, it's a Mercedes-Benz front row lockout with Reese claiming pole position ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who starts alongside of him. Nico Hülkenberg outqualifies Max Verstappen for an all-Jaguar second row. That car really working well here. It's a McLaren all third row then, with myself in front of Sam, who starts in P6. Next is an all Ferrari fourth row with Noah in front of Charles Leclerc. And then we've got a split then. We've got Ricciardo in P9 ahead of Lando Norris, who is in P10 for Red Bull. Followed by the second Red Bull of Mason Wood and then the Renault Esteban Ocon, so those two teams mixing up with each other. Devon Butler is in P13 ahead of George Russell, who is in P14 for today's Grand Prix. Pierre Gasly starts in front of Pascal Wehrlein for this race. And then we've got Valtteri Bottas, who starts in front of Nico Rosberg. And then it's going to be the back row of the traditional Carlos Sainz and then Lucas Weber, rounding off the 20 drivers taking part in today's Italian Grand Prix. Let's get straight into it then. So it's going to be a one-stop strategy. It's going to be from the soft tyres to the hard tyres. But of course, we'll have a look at that, or should I say the super softs to the mediums. But as we can see then, we're on the grid now for the start of the Italian Grand Prix. We've got 5 red lights here, and it is lights out. We go then to start the Italian Grand Prix off. Let's see if we can have a good race. But as we get off the line, it wasn't the perfect getaway for us. Initially there, the Ferrari there is getting a mega start, but we're just about going to hold him off here as we go in towards turn 1 now. Sam looks to have actually got in front of us here early on. He has done. So there we go. Sam has overtaken us straight away then in towards the chicane as we now make our way down towards the curve of Grande here. Reese leads the Grand Prix. Verstappen up into second. Hamilton drops to third. Then it's Hulkenberg in fourth. Sam up to fifth. We're down into sixth place now in this Grand Prix. Hulkenberg now goes for a look on Lewis Hamilton in towards the chicane, and he's going to go for it. Let's see if he can try and make it stick. It doesn't work for him on that occasion. We try and have a look, attack on Sam, but we just can't make it stick now as we go in towards the Lesmos for the first time then in this Grand Prix. You can already see there the turbulent air not really working in our favour as we now go on to lap 2 of the Grand Prix here. And we've got Hamilton versus Hulkenberg in towards the chicane. We get the chicane all messed up there as they broke super early into the chicane, and they've actually pulled away a little bit. Now Noah tries to go up the inside of us in towards the Lesmos, and the Ferrari fans and the Tifosi will be absolutely loving that, and he gets the position then. So look, Noah James now up into 6th place. We've dropped to 7th here now in this Grand Prix, and all of a sudden we've now got the Renault car, I think that's Ocon, on the back of us trying to go for it in towards the Ascari here. We're now going backwards in this Grand Prix as we go in towards the Ascari now, and he has to take a slightly different line there. It's actually Daniel Ricciardo that's had to take that slightly different line. But now as we go onto the straight here, Ricciardo once again though is trying to go for an attack here as we blast our way now down towards the Parabolica. Leclerc trying to get involved as well. I'm trying to make it 3 wide here as we go in towards the corner now. We've made a little bit of contact. Myself and Ricciardo, a bit of contact there in towards the Parabolica. Leclerc goes by. Yellow flags are out. A virtual safety car comes out for Ricciardo, who's stuck at the Parabolica there. And yeah, this is just so far been an awful race for us now as we've gone to lap 3 of the Grand Prix, and now we need to try and recover this Grand Prix, and it's been an awful start. And we're starting things off in our recovery drive by chasing after Charles Leclerc as we now go onto the straight here with the DRS now going to be enabled, and this is the power of the McLaren now that we've got ourselves a brand new B-spec car here as we fly on through past Charles Leclerc. It is a very simple overtake, and we've even got enough time to get ourselves prepared for the braking zone. But we're going to move up ahead though because there's a fight going on for the lead here. It's Verstappen versus Reese now through the Curva Grande. Reese stays in front on that occasion, but Verstappen will get him run in towards the chicane. Will he go left or will he go right? It looks like he's going to go towards the inside. It doesn't actually work off. He waits till the second DRS zone here and breezes past Reese in towards Ascari. That wasn't even a challenge for Verstappen on that occasion. He flies on through in the Jaguar, who have really ramped it up now. But further behind, Sam and Lewis Hamilton have some fun as well because they're going side by side here in the attack. Hulkenberg just a little bit behind in all of this now. Sam loses trail a little bit, but Reese now is onto the back of Verstappen here. And once again, that the Jaguar has got literally zero drag. It's so slippery in a straight line, but the Mercedes-Benz has got a fantastic power unit, and it's really helping him out here. And it's pretty much a battle of aero versus power unit. And you can see Verstappen comes out on top, but Reese will chuck into the slipstream of Max Verstappen as they fly around the Curva Grande. Now in towards the chicane here, Reese will go to the outside line to try and make this one stick. Now in they go, and Reese tries to go for it around the outside of the chicane, gets a much better run there than Verstappen, and makes the overtake stick. And now we've got Sam and also Lewis Hamilton that are involved in the mix as well as Verstappen once again repasses Reese in towards Ascari. It seems like Verstappen is just so much more quicker in a straight line. But of course, Sam now is actually going to try and go for it here. In fact, Sam, look at the power unit difference there between Mercedes and McLaren. Sam breezing past Reese then in towards the Parabolica. Now Sam's going to be the one to challenge Verstappen on the straight. He'll have DRS. I think Hamilton's also passed Reese as well. He has done. So Reese drops down to 4th now in the Italian Grand Prix. And look at the slipstream that Sam is getting now here on Verstappen. He's going to go towards the outside line, and Hamilton will go to the inside line. They'll make it 3 abreast now in towards the first corner. Who's going to come out on top in this scrap? Verstappen's down to 3rd. Sam will go around the outside. He'll get the inside line for the second part of the chicane, and he makes it stick and leads the Italian Grand Prix. But I'm pretty sure that is going to continue to change all the while. For us though, we're trying to make our way further up the field. We're in 7th place. We've got Charles Leclerc on the back of us here in P8. I can't shake him off at DRS just yet, and here he comes now in towards Ascari. We're going to have to go a little bit defensive here in towards the corner, and we do so. And there we go, defending against him. We're 1.4 seconds away from Noah James. I really need to just keep pressing onwards now in this race and not avoid what's going on here, being attacked by the Ferrari of Leclerc as I'm trying to chase down Noah. Because if I can chase down Noah and pass him, the guys that are scrapping at the front, e.g. my teammate Reese, Hamilton and Verstappen, and even Hulkenberg to that extent, we might just be able to sneak ourselves back into contention in this Grand Prix. And the gap now 1.6 seconds unfortunately, but as you can see here, Leclerc's got DRS at this point, but we're actually just using rich and high, and that just shows how quick our car now is in a straight line that we can go for it. But you can see there's the Hulkenberg, Hamilton and Sam. We can still see them on the screen, so in theory despite our race so far being really poor, we are slowly but surely building ourselves back into this Grand Prix now as we get DRS now on lap 6 against Noah as we go onto the straight now. Half a second is the difference now as we fly down the straight here using all of our engine modes. 220, 222 miles an hour now, just creeping 223 miles an hour as we go in towards the chicane and we make the move done on Noah James and pass the second Ferrari now in this race, and hopefully we can have them two scrapping out a little bit. But back at the front though, the top 4 are still going at it then. So Reese currently is in front of Sam with Verstappen in 3rd, Hamilton in 4th, and then Hulkenberg down in 5th. Now let's have a look then. Who's got the measure on Reese as they go in towards the first corner. In fact, Reese is just going to be sandwiched here. Has to go towards the middle of the circuit. No chance there. Verstappen and Sam will fight this one out. Sam looks like he's just about going to sneak ahead. In fact, they're going to stay side by side, but Sam's got a little bit of his car in front of Verstappen now as they go onto towards the Curva Grande. Sam gets in front of Verstappen, but Max will tuck into the slipstream, find himself a new route to pass now. Here comes Max in towards the chicane now. Let's see if he can try and go for it here. And as they go in towards the chicane, Hamilton is just a little bit behind. In fact, he's actually overtaken Reese as well, but Verstappen retakes the lead then of the Italian Grand Prix. Hulkenberg now getting into the mix, but backing towards the Ascari. Sam's going to come back at Verstappen once again, and he does so there. And Hamilton now trying to have a little look as Reese drops into P4, probably going to start saving some of his engine modes very shortly as we look back behind just to see where we are. We're still in front of the 2 Ferraris, holding them off, but the top 5 there just flying through the screens as Hamilton now makes the move on Verstappen down towards the Parabolica. Sam will be giving Verstappen crucial slipstream here as Leclerc in the background is going for an attack on Noah now behind me, but we're still trying to focus on these guys because they're having an awesome scrap now, and it's going to be Sam that's going to be the man that's going to be panicking about all of the cars flying towards the back of him because he's not going to have DRS. Everyone else is, and here they go now onto the straight here. Reese is trying to pass his way through Verstappen. Hamilton now is going to go towards the inside line on Sam, and Reese is also going to try and go for it. Verstappen backs off out of all of it. It's 3 wide in towards chicane. That's never going to work in your favour, and somehow out of all of that, Sam still leads this Italian Grand Prix. I don't know how he's held off all of the cars, but now Reese goes around the outside of Hamilton in towards the Curva Grande. He's going to have a great slipstream on Sam as well, and in towards the chicane now. I think Sam is just about going to be okay, but until they get towards the Ascari, that's when it will change, because now Reese goes down the inside of Sam, but Sam is going to come back at him once again though. He's going to try for it, but Reese gives Sam a little bit of a shove there, and now that's going to cost him quite dearly now as they go onto the straight now towards the Parabolica. Let's see if Sam can try and get his way back in towards this. They're literally all going for it now in towards Parabolica. It's going to be 3 wide here. It's never going to work for you all, but they somehow they get it all intact, although they lose a little bit of time here to the top 3, and we've now closed right up onto the back of them, but we're going to follow them all in now. So this is coming in towards our pit stop window, and Reese pits, so too does Verstappen, so too does myself, and so too, that's actually Hulkenberg, and so too does Noah. So let's see then what we can do in terms of stopping onto the hard tyres now. This was my scheduled pit stop, so no reason to panic about that. We come into the pits now, but unfortunately we've been held in the pits though, but it looks like it's going to be Hulkenberg and also Noah here, so that's an awful pit stop for us there. And we've lost crucial time now versus the rest of the field here. We've actually been leapfrogged by the Ferraris, so actually by staying or coming in, it probably wasn't the greatest idea. We should have just capitalized with the DRS that we did have, and maybe, you know, stayed a lap longer than when Sam maybe initially pitted. Might have just helped us a little bit, but annoyingly now, we've not only did we just recover and get onto the back of the top 5, we've now lost all of that advantage again. So it took me 9-10 laps to really get myself back into the race, and annoyingly, I'm all the way down behind the second Ford on the back of the screens there, but there goes Noah. He's made his way past Pascal Wehrlein and all that, and now we're going to have Nico Hulkenberg doing the same thing. We've already gone down the inside of the other Ford car into the chicane, and now there's Hulkenberg absolutely flying past there, the Ferraris. We've now got Verstappen coming out of the pits, and we've also got the second Ferrari coming out of the pits there. So yeah, we probably would actually have been more beneficial stopping a little bit earlier in the, a little bit later in the Grand Prix as we go absolutely flying towards Ascari. Now we've got Charles Leclerc in front of us versus Pascal Wehrlein, and of course we're trying to get the past as many of them as we possibly can. Now as we go in towards the Parabolica, we're just going to dive it down the inside of the pair of them, because why not? I've kind of lost a bit of my patience here in this Grand Prix. Leclerc is right onto the back of us, and unfortunately Gasly pits, but we do get the DRS from Pierre Gasly, so we can just fly away now with the DRS in our favour, and Noah is 2.9 seconds up the road, so he's gained a huge amount of time on us as we've had to deal with the traffic and also with us being held in the pits. And Noah seems to be on the back of both Jaguars, so it looks like a little bit of a split has happened in the Grand Prix because of the pit stop window. Verstappen and Hulkenberg are battling each other. We can see then, so Sam and Reese now lead the Grand Prix and they're going side by side and attacking each other. Hamilton is then in the lonely P3. This is the fight for P4, and then me and Leclerc are fighting for P7, I believe, in this race now. So this really hasn't gone right for us in this race so far, but we've got plenty of time. We gained up to the back of the cars earlier in the race. We've just got to do it all over again. It's going to be tough, but I think we've got the car to do it as we now go onto the straight here. Verstappen has overtaken Hulkenberg. Noah James is trying to overtake both of the Jaguar cars here in towards the chicane. Hulkenberg holds the line and Jaguar block off Ferrari, and that is a great bit of defensive play from the pair of them, but now they're going to be scrapping away on the exit of the chicane now towards the Curva Grande. Verstappen is going to be in front just about of Nico Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg obviously started in front of Verstappen, and of course will want to try and get back past him again to go in towards the chicane now for the first time here for this next lap. And again they go on through, and Hulkenberg I think is just about going to steal the line there, but that is compromising them so much that we're now right onto the back of them already here, and we go in towards the Lesmo now for the however many time, and they're still scrapping away. But back at the front here, I did say that Sam and Reese had managed to break themselves away from the rest of the pack, and now it's a straight fight for the win, really, between Reese and Sam. And here goes Sam then with the DRS. He's going to open that up and breeze past the Mercedes-Benz on the straight, and that's a clean overtake for him. And further back though, Hulkenberg is going to go for it here on Max Verstappen. He flies through with the DRS, and they're all now starting to get a little bit split here. Leclerc though is onto the back of me here, and we have a look at that now, but he's just not close enough to go for it as we go back on board with the top two of Reese versus Sam, and in towards chicane they go, now towards the Lesmos here. They're going to scrap this one out, and if they scrap it any harder, Hamilton's going to be licking his lips at this one, because he's going to be closing up onto the back of them, and we're on lap 14 of the Italian Grand Prix. Thanks Mr. McLaren's steering wheel for telling me what lap I'm on as we now go on to the straight here, and Sam looks like he's got a little bit of extra momentum on the run down towards Ascari. None of them have got DRS on this occasion, so it's going to be a clean run for them, but for Verstappen, he's certainly got DRS towards Ascari. That's so close to the back of Hulkenberg there, wiggling around to find his way through, and now they breeze their way on through, and Hulkenberg makes a position up on Verstappen, as now you can see myself and Leclerc have officially gained in on the pack now. We are now in a fight for P4. There is going to be 5 cars. We go super defensive against Charles Leclerc, but we also barge our way past Noah in towards the Parabolica, and we make up a place now, and we're in front of the Ferraris, and now we're going against the Jaguars, but this is going to be critical. 2 Ferraris versus 2 Jaguars versus my McLaren, and here we go then. The Ferraris go side by side. They've got DRS on me. I've got DRS on the 2 Jaguars. The Jaguar of Hulkenberg has got DRS of Verstappen, but Max holds on in there, and in towards the chicane now. This is a great fight for P4 in the Italian Grand Prix, and I'm going to have to seriously work if I'm going to be able to secure this now. So here we go, lap 16. We've got another 11 laps of this to go as we now fly through the Curva Grande. Can we make a move on Hulkenberg? And let's see if we can try and make this one stick now in towards chicane. He's got a great slipstream on Verstappen, so I decided to back off against it, and nearly actually tapped the back of his car there, and both Jaguars start to breeze off into the distance. 2 laps later on to lap 18 of the Grand Prix. Unfortunately, the Jaguars are actually getting away from me at this stage now, so I'm pushing as hard as I possibly can, but I'm just struggling to match the Jaguars. They've got great pace, but I don't seem to have much fuel mixture left. Leclerc tries to go for it in towards the Ascari on me now in all of this, and one of the Renaults is also getting involved. We're going to go swooping around the outside of Noah James, actually, that tried to overtake us. We're going to swoop around past him, because I don't want anything to do with him. Now I'm right back on Jaguar's tail, so it didn't take me that long to chase the Jaguars down, but here we go now, onto the Parabolica in towards or the straight towards the Parabolica. I'm going to go towards the inside line here, make a move on Hulkenberg, and let's see if we can stick this one. We do, so that's an overtake on Hulkenberg. Next up is Max Verstappen, so here we go then, onto the straight now. Noah is attacking Hulkenberg in the background. We've got DRS though to try and attack Verstappen. Let's see if the McLaren is quick enough in a straight line to attack the Jaguar with the DRS. It looks like it. We're going to go for the outside line, break a little bit earlier, but allow the car to rotate into the corner better, and we can shove Verstappen wide and do our own form of defensive play and put him under pressure from Hulkenberg behind. Lap 19 now, and the top 3 are unfortunately too far out of sight for us. Our fight is to get 4th place in this Italian Grand Prix. Lap 20 of the Grand Prix now. We're going through the Lesmos here, and again, fuel is becoming a big problem. I need to try and save fuel, but I don't know where to save fuel because I'm just under attack in all circumstances here. Here comes Verstappen now towards Ascari here, and as he goes on through, It's an easy overtake there. He breezes past going towards there as we now go in towards the Ascari. Nothing I can do about it, and I'm just going to settle down, and I know that this is a long way to go in this Grand Prix. So now we're going to open up the taps here, get that slipstream on Verstappen. As you can see, we are gaining very closely. Hulkenberg is also in behind. The two Ferraris now have actually crucially dropped back. They seem to be stuck scrapping with one of the Renault cars. I think it's of Daniel Ricciardo, and for me, I'm now in a straight sandwich fight versus two Jaguars. So here we go now, onto the straight here versus Verstappen. Can we get back past Verstappen? Looking after my car as much as we can, but we've got the run towards the inside line, and we'll make that move stick on Max, and now we claim 4th place back in this Grand Prix. But again, I still need to watch that fuel. It was down 0.2. So that's something that I need to focus on as we're on to lap 21 of this Grand Prix now. Verstappen is was actually under attack from Hulkenberg, so that should help us out quite nicely onto the end of lap 21 now. As you can see here, Verstappen and Hulkenberg just getting a slipstream on us now, as it's going to be 3 wide in towards the Parabolica. I think Verstappen's lost a little bit of time though in all of that, but we go down the inside in towards Parabolica and make that move stick and stay in 4th place. But you can see how close the two Jaguars are to the back of me here. Hulkenberg has got a sensational run now onto the start-finish straight. He'll have DRS. Verstappen's also going to have DRS as well. Hulkenberg's got no slipstream. Verstappen's got slipstream. 3 wide in towards the chicane. We're going to break as late as we possibly dare now in towards here. Hulkenberg locks up. Verstappen takes a bit too much curb on the exit, on the entry to turn 1, and that gives us the run that we need now to stay in front of Max as we go in towards the Curva Grande for the 22nd time here. And Verstappen has got a great slipstream now as we go through towards the Curva Grande in towards the chicane. He goes towards the outside and then goes back towards the inside for the chicane. We'll happily allow that because unlike any other cars, I'm not exactly going to give you and warrant you all the space in the world. I'm going to close the door as much as I possibly can. I'd rather you not pass me, to be honest, as we're now ultra defensive in this Grand Prix. We've done as much attacking as I think we're going to possibly be able to do. Now we've just got to drive the living daylights off this car, and we are in lean fuel mixture. I'm trying to save fuel, but we're really struggling to do that when we're in a completely hard-fought fight versus the Jaguars, and I don't want to get to a stage where I have to let them go and just let them disappear into the distance because I need to save fuel. I need to stick with them and just drive the wheels off this thing to get P4, but we're doing a good job, and crucially, ERS management has been decent. We're actually doing alright with it, so I can use that in my favour, and we break very late in towards the Parabolica there and get a great run on the exit now versus Verstappen. And again, we are going to have the DRS here to attack Max Verstappen. So let's try and make this one count then. So here we go now, opening up the DRS here versus Verstappen, and onto the straight we go now, and this is going to be quite a simple overtake. In fact, we've got plenty of room here to go for it. We're going to go to the outside line though and break nice and late. Verstappen breaks a little bit later though actually to try and put me off slightly. It doesn't really do that much, and we get through past Verstappen now into the 4th place now of this Italian Grand Prix. Reese and Hamilton are scrapping away for 2nd and 3rd. You can see on the minimap actually as we go, look at the start finish straight. Sam in the McLaren has actually pulled away now from both Mercedes. He's not in slipstream or DRS of them. He's about 2-3 seconds clear. With both Mercedes scrapping, Sam is getting comfortable and could potentially win this Italian Grand Prix, albeit reliability hopefully doesn't strike him as we now go onto the start-finish straight. I've got more things to worry about than seeing my teammates scamper off into the distance in the lead. I've got two Jaguars that really want to pass me here. As we go in towards the chicane now, we get ourselves in front of Nico Hulkenberg. Leclerc there just closing in on the background, and the other Ferrari, I'm not actually sure where Noah James is. I think he's stuck behind Ricciardo still and a long way back. So yeah, he is. He's literally just entered the 2nd DRS zone now, whereas Leclerc is through Ascari. So Noah has really had his race compromised here, but we get a bad run on the exit of the Ascari chicane, and that's a great run for Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg takes P4 in this Grand Prix. Verstappen now is going to try and take it, but I'm going to close Verstappen off and take the inside line, and literally you can see how much I'm trying to drive the wheels off this car right now, slipping and sliding all over the place. Verstappen now is getting a run on Hulkenberg. I've got DRS, which is critical now to help me try and defend against these Jaguars, and that is exactly why I'm putting everything back into lower fuel modes. We're really getting on target now in this race, but annoyingly we've got the Williams of Lucas Weber, who's a back marker, in the way. This might actually be a decent thing as we open up the DRS now. Let's see if Weber's going to be someone that's going to be a thorn in my side as we blast our way now down towards Ascari here. Weber gets out of the way quite comfortably from all 3 of us actually. We fly on through, and Hulkenberg and Verstappen will scrap their way on through, and I was hoping they'd scrap a little little bit more than that through Ascari, but they didn't quite do as much as I anticipated. But as you can see, onto the straight now, onto the final lap then of this Grand Prix. We've got one of the Red Bulls going slowly in towards the Curva Grande, so he's got a problem out there on track. It's Mason Wood who is out of the Italian Grand Prix on the final lap there. That is heartbreak for Red Bull, but we've got more things to focus on as we've got a yellow flag as well into Ascari. One of the Mercedes cars has gone off in towards Ascari. I think, are they out of the Grand Prix? Are they alright? It's Reese though that's got a problem. He's just on the exit of Ascari there, so he's had contact with his teammate Hamilton. So drama happening on the final lap of the Grand Prix, but Sam wins the Italian Grand Prix, but Hulkenberg is looking to snatch fourth place away from us, and Verstappen now still close to us on the back here as we go in towards Parabolica for the final time now, literally sliding around now, trying to get as much as I can. Fuel is literally on the edge here. We're going to have to go, I'm just going to go for it, rich towards the line. We hold off the rest of the pack and we claim ourselves fourth place in the Italian Grand Prix. What a sensational drive that was today. We didn't do the best in terms of the race, in terms of, you know, fighting against the front runners, but at the end of the day, we really had to work so hard for that race. But here we go then. So Sam takes the win at the Italian Grand Prix, and he had nearly a 10-second advantage over his next challenger, which was Lewis Hamilton, who finishes in second place. Reese is third after making contact, it seems, at the end there with Lewis Hamilton, 15.1 seconds off the lead. We finished 17.8 seconds off the lead, so we only finished 2.7 seconds behind Reese. So yeah, he had some issues at the end. Max Verstappen claims P5 in the race, literally a 1/10 behind me, and he finished 3/1000ths of a second clear of Hulkenberg to get P5. The three of us were separated by 1.5 tenths of a second. That is absolutely incredible. Charles Leclerc finishes in P7 for Ferrari, 19.5 seconds off. Noah finishes in P8, you can see there, 31.8 seconds off in the end. Esteban Ocon finishes in P9 for Renault. Good job from him today, with Devon Butler P10 for Audi. Max Verstappen did claim the fastest lap today, so he claims the extra bonus point, meaning he claims 11 points rather than 10. Looking at the bottom half of the table now, Daniel Ricciardo finishes in P11 for Renault, with Nico Rosberg finishing in P12 now for Porsche. Pierre Gasly did a strong race to get P13 ahead of Lando Norris in P14 for Red Bull. Again, another awful race weekend for Red Bull. I think that's the third race weekend in a row now where Red Bull haven't scored a single point. So that's really poor now. Pascal Wehrlein in P15 for Porsche ahead of Carlos Sainz. George Russell, a bad race in P17, ahead of the two Williams cars of Bottas and Weber. And then Mason Wood was the man to DNF from this Grand Prix. As we take a look then at the Drivers' Championship now. So we are on 231 points and are still in front in the Drivers' Championship. But with Sam taking the race victory and with me finishing down in P4, that gap has dropped to 36 points now at the top of the championship, with still another 4 races, I believe, to go. If my maths is correct, we've got Brazil, Japan and Belgium. No, 3 races to go. It's still very much open for the championship. Reese is in third in the championship on 171 points. He's still mathematically, I believe, in the championship, but he's got a long way to go. He's 60 points behind with 75 points on offer. Still mathematically in it, but it's going to take a lot. He's going to have me have some big issues for him to be a championship contender. Lewis Hamilton fourth in the championship with 139 points. He is out of contention to win the championship now. It's just between me, Sam and Reese who's going to win it. Noah is fifth in the championship with 109 points, and he was catching Hamilton, but Hamilton pulls away a little bit after this race. Mason Wood still sixth in the championship on 82 points, which is pretty surprising considering he hasn't scored in the last 3 races. Charles Leclerc seventh for Ferrari on 76 points. Verstappen is now 8th in the championship on 64 points, ahead of Lando Norris, who is on 53 points, and then it is George Russell in P10 for Audi on 47 points. Next episode, we're going to be going over to the Brazilian Grand Prix. And then over in the Constructors' Championship, McLaren are on 426 points, and Mercedes-Benz are on 310 points. I'm just going to double check with 3 races to go. Can Mercedes claw this back? Yes. So in the next episode, McLaren need to score 3 points, and then the Constructors' Championship is wrapped up. Mercedes-Benz need 100. A maximum that they can get is 129 points, or in fact they can get 132 points. So yeah, McLaren need to score 5 points in the next episode to secure the championship. Ferrari are on 184 points now. Red Bull stuck on 135 points as they have been for such a long time. Jaguar have moved in front of Audi Audi and Renault. So Jaguar's late season resurgence has seen them jump those two teams. They're on 84 points while Audi are on 79 and Renault are on 75. Could Jaguar make a late charge to attack Red Bull for fourth in the championship? It's possible for them. Ford then are on 16 points ahead of Porsche then on 10 and then Williams on 6. But with all of that being said and done, we're going to move over into the post-race notebook and have a look at all of the news that is broken out after this race weekend. So starting off with Sam, he believes that he can still push for the driver's title after a hard-fought win. The championship lead has dropped now down to 36 points with just 3 races to go. It does mean that Sam is going to need to outscore Tom by at least 12 points or more in the remaining 3 races each in order for him to win the championship, but you never know in this sport. With the Mercedes still pressing on McLaren's tail and also the resurgence of Jaguar, it may just help him if he can put the performances in. Tom is unsure how he got P4 after what he believes was his toughest race of the season. Despite some races in the past where Tom hasn't scored any points, he felt like this was an extremely difficult race after getting a bad start, being stuck behind the Ferraris, losing out to after the virtual safety car, losing out in the pit stop, scrapping as hard as he could with the Jaguars. He's still unsure how he got that. Reese is outraged after Lewis Hamilton made contact with him on the final lap and towards the Ascari chicane. The two were going side by side when Lewis Hamilton dove down the inside and locked up, and Reese had to go off track into the gravel, and it nearly cost him a chance of a podium place. Jaguar believe that they have a car that is ready to push into next season now with their late resurgence. Jaguar have been the team making the most upgrades throughout this entirety of this season after a poor season last time around. But with Jaguar now finally able to unlock true potential from their car, they believe now they can take what they've got from this season and really delve it into next season. But with that being said and done, that is going to be it for today's episode of the F1 Journey. If you guys have enjoyed it, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. Next episode is going to be the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. See how the championship swings then. Take care all. Peace.